This case takes us across the Atlantic to the United States for a crime so shocking it was immediately dubbed the crime of the century. This story isn't from the distant past, but from 1932, an era of gangsters, radio, and new American heroes. And no hero was bigger than Charles Lindbergh. In 1927, Lucky Lindy became a global icon by making the first solo, nonstop flight across the Atlantic. He was the embodiment of American courage. He and his wife, and Maura Lindbergh, were America's royal couple. So when their 20-month-old son, Charles Jr., was abducted from their new home in rural New Jersey on the night of March 1st, 1932, the nation plunged into a state of collective panic. The scene itself was eerily quiet. The baby was taken from his second-floor nursery. A crude homemade wooden ladder was found outside, broken. On the windowsill sat a note demanding $50,000. It was riddled with grammatical errors and strange spellings, suggesting a German author. What followed was a media circus and one of the largest manhunts in American history. Charles Lindbergh himself took charge of the investigation, often sidelining the police. He used a go-between, a retired school principal named Dr. John Condon, to contact the kidnappers. Through a series of bizarre newspaper ads and secret meetings in cemeteries, Condon communicated with a man who called himself John. Lindbergh, waiting nearby during one meeting, heard the man's voice call out, a detail that would later become critical. The ransom was eventually paid, but the baby wasn't returned. The nation held its breath. Then, on May 12, 1932, the agonizing wait came to a tragic end. A toddler's body was discovered in the woods just a few miles from the Lindbergh home. The child had been dead for about 2 months and died from a massive skull fracture. The heartbreak was immense, but the search for a missing child now became a hunt for a killer. The investigation stalled for 2 years. The breakthrough came in September 1934 when a marked gold certificate from the ransom money was used to pay for gas in New York City. The gas station attendant wrote down the license plate, leading police to a German immigrant carpenter in the Bronx, Bruno Richard Hauptmann. When police searched Hauptmann's home, the evidence seemed overwhelming. They found over $14,000 of the ransom money hidden in his garage. They found Dr. Condon's address and phone number written on a closet door. Hauptmann had a criminal record in Germany that included using a ladder in a burglary. But the prosecution's star piece of evidence was the ladder itself. A wood expert testified that a piece of wood used to build the ladder, rail 16, was a perfect match to a floorboard missing from Hauptmann's attic. The nail holes even lined up. For the jury, this was the smoking gun. Hauptmann's handwriting was also said to match the ransom notes. And at the trial, both Charles Lindbergh and Dr. Condon identified Hauptmann as the man they had heard and met in the cemetery. Hauptmann, for his part, maintained his innocence until the very end. He claimed the money was left with him by a friend, Isidor Fisch, who had since returned to Germany and died. He alleged that police beat him and forced him to provide handwriting samples. Despite his pleas, the jury found him guilty. On April 3, 1936, Bruno Richard Hauptmann was executed in the electric chair. Case closed? Not for everyone. In the decades since, serious doubts have been raised about whether Hauptmann was guilty, or at least if he acted alone. The case against him was largely circumstantial. No fingerprints of his were found at the scene. Witnesses like Lindbergh and Condon had at first failed to identify Hauptmann in lineups. Many believe the trial was a media-fueled spectacle and that Hauptmann, a German immigrant with a criminal past, was the perfect scapegoat. So if Hauptmann wasn't the lone killer, what really happened? One theory is that it was an inside job. Suspicion fell on several members of the Lindbergh household staff, particularly a maid named Violet Sharp, who died by suicide after intense police questioning. But in recent years, an even more disturbing and controversial theory has been put forward by some researchers, one that is not accepted by mainstream historians. This fringe theory points the finger at the most unthinkable suspect, Charles Lindbergh himself. Proponents of this theory point to Lindbergh's well-known interest in eugenics, a discredited movement focused on improving the human race. The Lindbergh baby was reportedly sickly, with a larger-than-normal head and other health issues. They speculate that Lindbergh, a hero obsessed with strength and perfection, may have seen his son as flawed and allowed him to be used in a dangerous experimental surgery by his colleague, the Nobel-winning surgeon and fellow eugenics proponent Alexis Carrel. The theory goes that the experiment went wrong, and the kidnapping was an elaborate cover-up. Supporters point to claims that some of the baby's organs were missing and that there was little blood at the scene, suggesting a medical procedure. However, these claims are fiercely disputed, with most experts attributing the body's condition to natural decomposition and animal activity. It's also been claimed that Lindbergh insisted on a quick cremation and discouraged further scientific testing. Whether this was an act of a grieving father or someone concealing a secret is still debated. To this day, Hauptmann's descendants and advocates for his innocence are still fighting to get key evidence, like saliva from the ransom note envelopes, tested with modern DNA technology, but their requests have so far been denied. So we're left with a haunting set of possibilities. Was Bruno Hauptmann a monstrous killer who acted alone? Was he an unlucky patsy, framed for a crime he didn't commit? Or was the crime of the century a dark family secret, a cover-up orchestrated by one of America's greatest heroes? The man who was executed for the crime insisted on his innocence to his dying breath, leaving a shadow of doubt that time has not been able to erase. What do you think really happened? Could an American hero have been capable of such a monstrous deception? Drop your theories in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like. It really helps more people see it. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next video. We've got lots of interesting and eerie stories on deck, and I'd love for you to be part of this community of case solvers. Until next time, keep the lights on, stay alert, and stay out of the shadows.